visible while visible when the world looks, but never sees they look at me and think they understand. They see the wheelchair, and that is it. Their eyes get stuck there, on the wheels, like they cannot imagine a life built from this vantage point. Like the chair speaks louder than I do. And in their silence, in the way they shift their eyes, and sometimes their bodies away from mine, I disappear. But it is a strange kind of disappearance. I am invisible, yes, but always while being looked at. Seen but never known. Present but never fully human in their eyes. It is the kind of invisibility that comes with hyper-awareness. Their stares, their assumptions, their pity dressed up as politeness. They register me, then replace me with whatever idea of disability they were raised on. Something passive. Something helpless. Something distant. I am none of those things. My legs are stronger than my arms. That fact seems to break people's brains sometimes. They see the chair and assume frailty. Imagine withered muscles or total stillness. But these legs have carried me in ways that have nothing to do with walking. I use them every single day. Lifting, shifting, bracing. Getting in and out of bed, transferring, pulling, pushing, climbing into bathtubs the world still has not made safe for me. My legs work hard. So do I. When I was growing up, my bedroom was upstairs. Always upstairs. No elevator. No stair lift. Just a long, narrow climb. I could not walk, but I did not float either. No one redesigned the house for me. No one made it easier. I made it work. I used my legs to climb those stairs, dragging my body up step by step, using every ounce of muscle I had. My arms helped, sure, but my legs did the brunt of the work, pressing into the wood, finding leverage, inching me up that staircase one breath at a time. Every night, every morning, over and over again. The only way to bed, the only way to breakfast, the only way to live. People who saw me out in public never saw that. They saw a girl in a chair and thought she could not move, could not act, could not exist outside of someone else's help. But I was climbing stairs before I could explain to anyone why I should not have had to. They did not see me grow strong. Not in the gym, not on the field, but in the quiet, unchosen grind of daily life in a body the world never makes room for. I have never had a job. That is always one of the first things people want to know, once they move past the awkward small talk. What do you do? And the silence that follows when I say I do not work is louder than anything. They do not understand that surviving in this world, in this body, is work. That navigating stairs, buses, inaccessible clinics, public spaces designed without me in mind is work. That waking up and choosing to show up again and again in a world that stares at me without seeing me is work too. But because I do not have a paycheck or a business card, they assume I have nothing to offer. I watch their faces change. I shrink in their eyes. Suddenly, I am not a full adult. I am a dependent, a burden. Something they would not say out loud, but I feel it in the shift of their tone. And the worst part is, if I push back, I am the angry one. If I speak my truth, I am too intense. If I take up space, I am disrupting something unspoken. It is easier for people when I stay quiet, when I let them define me. But I have lived my whole life climbing stairs they could not see. I do not stay quiet anymore. What does it mean to be invisible while visible? It means that people notice your wheelchair, but not your fire. They see your body, but not your will. They think they understand your limits, but know nothing about your reality. They see the metal frame, the wheels, the way I move, and they make up stories. She must be sad. She must be waiting to be healed. She must be wishing she could walk. But I am not a wish. I am not a blank space waiting to be rewritten. I have built a life on my terms, in this body, with these legs that have earned every ounce of their strength. They do not carry me in the way people expect, but they have carried me through things that most able-bodied people will never have to imagine. Disappointment, exclusion, frustration layered with resilience, shame transformed into power, and yes, loneliness. because it is lonely sometimes. When people pass you like you are a fixture. When the conversation hovers just over your head. When you are the only one in the room who has to think about where the ramp is, or if there even is one. When friendships fade because the effort to include you is just a little too much. When love feels like something reserved for people with bodies that match movie screens in magazine covers. I have watched people flirt around me, not with me. I have been called an angel by people who could not imagine kissing me. I have heard the compliments that are really condolences. You are so strong. You have such a good attitude. And what they mean is, I am sorry you exist like that. I do not know what I would do. And here is what I want to say back. You would survive like I do. You would adapt. You would climb the stairs. I am not here to inspire anyone. I am not here to educate people who are not listening. I am not here to perform strength for a crowd that only sees disability as weakness in costume. I am here because I belong. In this body. In this life. In this world. I am visible because of my chair, but I demand to be seen for everything beyond it. My sharp humor. My deep knowledge. My ability to spot lies a mile away. The softness I guard but still offer, carefully. My capacity for joy. My anger that refuses to settle. My legs that press in, push and hold, even if they never take a step. This body is not broken. It is mine. It has earned every bit of its power. And it does not need fixing. The world does. Wanting and being wanted people do not talk about the loneliness that lives in the body. They talk about it as an emotion, something that sits in your chest, something that comes and goes with seasons or social droughts. But for me, it is physical. It lives in my skin, in the palms of my hands that ache to be held, in the back of my neck where I imagine warm breath, in softness landing. It lives in my thighs, in the hollow behind my knees, in the space beside me that stays empty too many nights in a row. I am not shy about wanting love, or sex, or desire. But the world is still too shy about seeing me that way. When you are disabled, visibly, unapologetically, you learn early that you are excluded from the story of romance. No one ever whispers about your crushes at school. No one plays matchmaker. You are not part of the giggling circle that imagines kisses behind lockers. You are asked to prom as a pity favor, if you are asked at all. And no one ever talks about what it means to want deeply, when no one is looking back at you like you are wanted too. That silence follows into adulthood. I have had people flirt with me online, texting late into the night, saying sweet things with the easy boldness of someone behind a screen. But when it came time to meet in person, everything shifted. One man looked startled. Another did not even say hello, just turned and walked out. Another told me, "I did not realize you were really in a wheelchair all the time." He thought it was temporary. He thought it was a bad week, a short-term injury. He did not want the truth of my life. He wanted the movie version, where the chair gets folded up and the girl walks into his arms by the end of Act 3. But I do not walk. I never have. And I still want to be touched. The thing no one tells you is how hard it is to admit you are starved for affection without sounding desperate. How hard it is to ask for closeness without scaring someone away. Because when you are disabled, people assume your standards should be lower. They think you should be grateful for anything. And when you dare to expect more, to want real intimacy, not just someone's reluctant tolerance, you are made to feel ungrateful. But I want it all. Not scraps. Not a secret. I want to be looked at like I am electric. I want hands on my skin that are not tentative or clinical. I want a lover who learns the rhythm of how I move, who does not mind that I undress differently, that we love differently, that the bed might need adjusting, or that sometimes I need to stretch before I can focus on anything else. I want someone who does not see me as an act of charity, who does not think they are open-minded for touching me, who does not feel like they are earning virtue points for desiring me, because I am desirable, not in spite of the chair, not in spite of my needs, but as I am, because of how I have learned to feel so deeply. because of how tuned in I am to touch, because I know what it is to crave, and what it means to be patient, and how to speak with my body when words fall short. To be visible in that way, not as a spectacle, but as a partner, as a lover, as a body deserving of warmth and reciprocity. That is what I am still waiting for, still fighting for. Because I may be invisible to the world's tired, narrow lens, but I am not invisible to myself. I want, I feel, I need, I deserve. And one day, someone will see me and not flinch. Someone will look past the chair and into my eyes, and everything will click. They will not look at me like I am brave or sad or broken. They will look at me like I am home,